Hello and welcome to the third chapter from your textbook. The name of the chapter is A Midnight Visitor. And let's see what this chapter is all about. Possible did not fit any description of a secret agent Fowler had ever read. Following him down the musty corridor of the gloomy French hotel where Possible had a room, Fowler felt let down. It was a small room on the 6th and top floor and scarcely a setting for a romantic adventure. So, what do we understand from these lines? We understand that Possible is a secret agent in the story and Fowler is the main protagonist. Fowler is the main protagonist. Okay. Now he says that Fowler was following Possible down the musty corridor of the gloomy French hotel. Now, both of these men were staying at a French hotel and Fowler was following Possible into a room and Fowler felt really let down. Why did he feel let down? Because according to Fowler, Possible did not fit into the profile of a secret agent. He didn't look like a secret agent at all. It was a small room on the 6th and top floor and scarcely a setting for a romantic adventure. Now, the room that they were staying in was there on the 6th and top floor and it barely looked like a romantic setting. वो एक romantic setting की तरह लगता ही नहीं था to Fowler. It didn't look like that. Now, why? There must be some story behind this. Possible was, for one thing, fat, very fat. And then there was his accent. Though he spoke French and German passably, he had never altogether lost the American accent he had brought to Paris from Boston 20 years ago. So now, in these lines, Fowler is actually describing that how was Possible, how did he look like? How did he look like? He was very, very fat. Then he had an accent. He could speak French and German passably, matlab very well, and he also had not lost the American accent. So he could speak French, German, American, and he had a certain American accent in his speech. Okay. You are disappointed, Possible said, wheezily over his shoulder. You were told that I was a secret agent, a spy, dealing in espionage and danger. You wished to meet me because you are a writer, young and romantic. You envisioned mysterious figures in the night, the crack of pistols, drugs in the wine. Now he says, who says? Possible says that you are disappointed. You are not, you're not happy because you had been told that I was a secret agent. You are disappointed because you were told that I am a secret agent. I am good with espionage and danger. Espionage matlab किसी का पीछा करना, पता लगाना of any wrongdoing. You wish to meet me because you're a writer, young and romantic. Now you're a young and romantic writer. Who is a young and romantic writer? Fowles. He's a young and romantic writer. And what did he see? He envisioned mysterious figures in the night. And what kind of figures he used to see at night? He used to see various mysterious figures at night. रात में उसको कुछ mysterious figures दिखते थे. The crack of pistols, drugs in the wine. And he saw pistols cracking. मतलब pistols की sound उसको सुनाई दे रही थी. And he thought that somebody had put drugs in the wine that he was having. So because he was facing all of these scenarios, because he was facing all of these circumstances, he had hired Possible, who was a spy agent. I'm sure it's clear by now why was he hired. Instead, you have spent a dull evening in a French music hall with a sloppy fat man who, instead of having messages slipped into his hand by dark-eyed beauties, gets only a prosaic telephone call making an appointment in his room. Now, Possible continues to explain. वो और further बता रहा है. What is he saying? That you have spent a dull evening in a French music hall. You were supposed to understand and figure out why all of those mysterious figures you were seeing, but instead of that, you are supposed to sit here in a music hall with a man, with a sloppy fat man, जिसको messages मिलने चाहिए थे from people, from dark-eyed beauties especially, because that's what we've seen in the movies and on TV, that there are women who slip messages into the spy's hand, written on a paper with some kind of a message. But instead of that, he's only making a call for his room. So whatever Fowler was imagining, whatever Fowler was thinking, he was not able to achieve that. You have been bored, the fat man chuckled to himself as he unlocked the door of his room and stood aside to let his frustrated guest enter. Now he's saying, you have been made to sit and you don't have anything to do, you are bored, and this Fowler and Ossible, they get into the room. You are disillusioned, Ossible told him, but take cheer, my young friend. Presently you will see a paper, a quite important paper for which several men and women have risked their lives. Come to me. Some day soon that paper may well affect the course of history. In that thought is drama, is there not? As he spoke, Ossible closed the door behind him. Ossible says to him that you are disillusioned. Disillusioned matlab hopeless, having no hope. That you are hopeless, but be cheerful, you will see a paper, a quite important paper for which several men and women have risked their lives. Come to me. But he says that you will, you'll see a paper. तुमको एक paper मिलेगा for which many men and women have risked their lives to get it here. Someday soon that paper may well affect the course of history. And that paper has the potential to, change how history has been written till now. And there is drama in this thought, isn't it? There is drama. As he spoke, Ossible closed the door behind him. Now, when he was speaking all of these sentences, he closes the door behind Fowler. And then what happens? Then he switched on the light, and as the light came on, Fowler had his first authentic thrill of the day. For halfway across this room, a small automatic pistol in his hand, stood a man. And then what happens? He switches off the light. And when the light comes on, like when the light is on, Fowler gets his first authentic thrill of the day. Now, what is that thrill? He sees halfway across the room, a small automatic pistol in his hand, stood a man. In the room, there is a man with an automatic pistol in his hand. And he was thrilled. Who was thrilled? Fowler was thrilled to see this man with a pistol in his hand. Ossible blinked a few times. Max, he wheezed. You gave me quite a start. Max, he wheezed. You gave me quite a start. I thought you were in Berlin. What are you doing here in my room? And Ossible blinks his eyes a couple of times and he maybe recognizes. वो पहचान जाते हैं कि who that person is. And he understands that he is Max. And Fowler says to him, I thought you were in Berlin. What are you doing here in my room? But I thought you were there in Berlin, but then what are you doing here in my room? So, Fowler has recognized that man who is Max. Max was slender, a little less than tall, with features that suggested slightly the crafty, pointed countenance of a fox. There was about him, aside from the gun, nothing specially menacing. Now, what kind of a man was Max? Max was slender, matlab and he was a little less than tall. He was not very tall, he was short in height. And what kind of a features did he have? Crafty features which pointed countenance of a fox. Have you seen a fox? What kind of features does a fox have? A fox has very sharp features, and so this person Max, he also had the same features, and there was about him, aside from the gun, nothing specially menacing. कुछ भी डराने वाला नहीं था, except that gun that he was holding in his hand. There was nothing very threatening with Max. The report, he murmured, the report that is being brought to you tonight concerning some new missiles. I thought I would take it from you. It will be safer in my hands than in yours. And then he begins to talk. He talks about a report. Murmured matlab badbadana, धीरे धीरे बोलना. He says that the report that is being brought to you tonight is concerning some new missiles. The report that you will be getting tonight is about a new set of missiles, and I believe that this will be safer with me than with you. So what is that paper that Oswald was talking about? Maybe it was this, a paper containing information about the new missile. So maybe he was talking about this paper. Oswald moved to an armchair and sat down heavily. I am going to raise the devil with the management this time, and you can bet on it, he said grimly. This is the second time in a month that somebody has got into my room through that nuisance of a balcony. Now, what is Oswald saying? Oswald is saying in a very heavy voice that I am going to raise the devil with the management this time. Raise the devil with the management, matlab I am going to confront the management. मैं उनसे पूछूंगा. Whom? I am going to ask the management. To raise the devil is to, मैं उनसे बात करूंगा, and you can bet on it. इस पर शर्त लगा सकते हो. About what? That this is the second time that somebody has got into my room through that balcony. कि दूसरी बार ऐसा हुआ है कि that somebody got into my room from that balcony. Fowler's eyes went to the single window of the room. It was an ordinary window against which now the night was pressing blackly. And Fowler saw that there was a window in the room, and from that room it was getting darker, और रात होने लगी थी. Pressing blackly, beginning to get darker. Beginning to get darker, और अंधेरा होने लगा था. So this was pressing blackly. Okay. Balcony, Max said with a rising inflection. No, a pass key. I did not know about the balcony. It might have saved me some trouble had I known. It's not my balcony, Oswald said with extreme irritation. It belongs to the next apartment. He glanced explanatorily at Fowler, who said, this room used to be part of a large unit, and the next room through that door there used to be the living room. Now, they begin to have a conversation, and Max is saying that no, this is not a balcony, it is a pass key. I did not know about the balcony. That I did not know. I have not come through this balcony, and had I known about the balcony, it would have saved me more time. तो मुझे तो पता भी नहीं है कि ये यहाँ पे है. And Oswald said, very irritated, that this is my balcony and it belongs to the. Oswald says with extreme irritation that it's not my balcony. This is not my balcony. This belongs to the next apartment. And then he explains, you see, this room used to be part of a large unit, and through that door there used to be the living room. And then he explains that both these apartments were one. It used to be a big living room, and they were both connected to each other. Both the apartments were connected to each other. It had the balcony which extends under my window now. You can get onto it from the empty room 2 doors down. And somebody said, did last month. The management promised to block it off, but they haven't. Now, he says that apartment had the balcony, but it extends now. उस apartment में था balcony, but वो अब मेरे apartment में भी आ चुका है. And you can get into it from the empty room. There is a room beneath, there is a room below, and you can get into that room from 2 doors down, and somebody did, and somebody has come from that door to the balcony in my room, and the management had promised that they're going to block this balcony, this window, but they did not block it. Max glanced at Fowler, who was standing stiffly not far from Ossible, and waved the gun with a commanding gesture. Now Max looked at Fowler. Fowler was standing there very firm, and he was waving the gun with a commanding gesture. He showed the gun in his hand. He had a gun, suppose this gun, he was showing it in his hand. Please sit down, he said. We have a wait of half an hour, I think. 31 minutes, Ossible said moodily. And then they say that you'll have to sit down because we need about half an hour to begin the rest of the work. And in response, Ossible says, no, we have 31 minutes. The appointment was for 12:30. I wish I knew how you learned about the report, Max. The little spy smiled evilly. And we wish we knew how your people got the report. But no harm has been done. I will get it back tonight. What is that? Who is at the door? Now, Max says that it was for 12:30. What? The appointment. The person who was supposed to come with the papers had to come at 12:30, and he's saying that I wish how you got the report, how you got that report, Max is saying. And in response, Max says that I wish we knew how your people got the report, how your people have managed to get the report, but there has been no harm. And then suddenly somebody comes at the door. Fowler jumped at the sudden knocking at the door. Ossible just smiled. That will be the police. Now there is somebody knocking at the door, and Ossible says that who will be there? That must be the police over there. I thought that such an important paper as the one we are waiting for should have a little extra protection. I told them to check on me to make sure everything was all right. Now they were talking. Fowler Ossible says that I had told the police that this kind of a paper needs a lot of protection, and I expected them to come with a lot of protection, but that has not happened. So I just hope that it's all fine. Max bit his lip nervously. The knocking was repeated. What will you do now, Max? Ossible asked. If I do not answer the door, they will enter anyway. The door is unlocked and they will not hesitate to shoot. Now Ossible is saying to Max that now what will happen? They are already at the door. The police is at the door. Now I can't do anything about it. The door is unlocked. If you will not open the door, they'll still come in and they will shoot you. Max's face was black with anger as he backed swiftly towards the window. He swung a leg over the sill. Send them away, he warned. I will wait on the balcony. Send them away or I'll shoot and take my chances. The knocking at the door became louder and a voice was raised. Mr. Ossible, Mr. Ossible. Now Max was extremely angry. His face was black with anger as he was walking towards the window. And then he swung a leg. उसने अपना पैर उस window की तरफ बढ़ाया and he says, send them away. Look at this. He's there in the window and he says, send them away. I'll wait there in the balcony or I'll shoot and I'm not going to take any chances. The knocking at the door became louder and a voice was raised. And in this meanwhile, there is somebody knocking at the door and the knocking becomes more loud. It becomes louder. Keeping his body twisted so that his gun still covered the fat man and his guest, the man at the window grasped the frame with his free hand to support himself. Then he swung his other leg up and over the window sill. Now who is there at the window? Max is there at the window. He is half twisted. वो ऐसे turn करके gun shoot point कर रहा है to Ossible and Fowler, and then he puts his other leg up and he is there flying. मतलब वो window पे अपना दूसरा पैर भी रख देता है so that he can run off from there. The doorknob turned. Swiftly, Max pushed with his left hand to free himself from the sill and dropped to the balcony. And then as he dropped, he screamed once, shrilly. Now, meanwhile, the door has opened. And when he hears the opening of the door, Max jumps down. He jumps down and he's there on the balcony. And then the moment he jumps, he hears a sound, a very shrill, but चीखने की आवाज उसको सुनाई देती है. The door opened and a waiter stood there with a tray, a bottle and 2 glasses. Here is the drink you ordered for when you returned, he said, and set the tray on the table, deftly uncorked the bottle and left the room. So the moment the door is open, there is not the police, but there is a waiter who has come with some drinks. There is a tray, there is a bottle and there are 2 glasses. So this was being ordered by Osable. He puts everything there on the table, he uncorks the bottle and he leaves the room. White-faced, Fowler stared after him, but he stammered, "The police." There were no police, Osable sighed, only Henry, whom I was expecting. Now Fowler stared at him, उसने उन्हें घूरते हुए देखा and he said, "Where is the police?" And Osable says, "It was Henry because I had asked him to come here and I was expecting Henry. I was not expecting the police, I was expecting Henry in my room." "But won't that man out on the balcony?" Fowler began. "No," said Osable. "He won't return. You see, my young friend, there is no balcony." Now, Osable had actually lied. And when Fowler asks that, "No, what will happen to that man?" Osable says that he's gone, he's not going to return back because there is no balcony. And if you remember, there was a shrilly sound also that they heard. So this is the end of the chapter. Let's have a look at the question and answers now. Osable did not fit in any description of a secret agent Fowler had ever read. What do secret agents in books and films look like? In your opinion, discuss in groups or in class some stories or movies featuring spies, detectives and secret agents and compare their appearance with that of Osable in this story. You may mention characters from fiction in languages other than English. In English fiction, you may have come across Sherlock Holmes, Hercule Poirot or Miss Marple. Have you watched any movies featuring James Bond? Secret agents in fiction are projected like ideal men, tall, dark and handsome. They are usually well built and keep beautiful women for company. They would smoke a pipe like Sherlock Holmes or a cigar and execute death-defying stunts like James Bond. Movies based on James Bond show high-tech gadgets which assist the detective in countering villains. However, there are some exceptions to this appearance of a secret agent also. A character named Feluda was created by Satyajit Ray, the famous Bengali filmmaker. Feluda was a tall, athletic figure who relied on his superb analytical ability and observation skill. Question 2. How does Osable manage to make Max believe that there is a balcony attached to his room? Look back at his detailed description of it. What makes it a convincing story? Look at the way he describes the balcony as if it really exists. Osable creates a detailed description of how his office was part of a bigger apartment and how the next room had a direct connection with a balcony. This was his description of the balcony. His statement that somebody else also broke into his office through that balcony earlier made it a convincing story. Yes, Osable's ability to think quickly and calmly in a situation of panic makes it convincing. He was very, very deft in this. उसने इतनी सफाई से झूठ बोला that they were convinced and he did it in such a short time, बिना कोई time लिए. Looking back at the story, when do you think Osable thought up his plan for getting rid of Max? Do you think he had worked out his plan in detail right from the beginning, or did he make up a plan taking advantage of events as they happened? No, I don't think that he had worked out his plan in detail earlier. He took advantage of events as they happened. Ausable made up a story of the balcony outside the room, and as there was a knock at the door, he said that it would be the police. All these made Max desperate. He became restless and without seeing below, jumped out of the window. With this, we come to the end of chapter number 3, The Midnight Visitor. Stay tuned in for the next chapters. Thank you so much.